I want to welcome you to another segment of the Hope TV broadcast. We're broadcasting Man Cave today, and certainly we want to invite all the men who are part of our community and those who are not a part of our community to log on right now. If you're watching right now, you know of another brother who may need some encouragement, some inspiration, and some instruction. Please send the link to them now and let them know that the Hope TV Man Cave is on the air right now. We're excited about it. I want to thank all of you for your support, your incredible words of encouragement. You've blessed our hearts tremendously. Our last Man Cave session was viewed literally by tens of thousands of people all over the world. And we believe that it is good and pleasant for brothers to dwell together in unity. And so as you're watching now, I want you to make sure that you like the page. You can subscribe to the page. You can follow us at The Hope TV on all things social media. And make sure that you follow us also on the YouTube channel. You also can follow the House of Hope Atlanta on all things social media, and Pastor E. Dewey Smith on Facebook, and E. Dewey Smith on all things social media. So send the link right now to some others who are watching. We really want this episode to go out. We're talking about wounded warriors on this particular episode. It's going to be a tremendous blessing to you. Let me thank our team, our staff, our technology department, our media ministry for doing an amazing job in trying to help us to navigate through these uncharted and unprecedented times. And so a major shout out to our technology and media departments. You guys are worth your weight in gold and platinum. Thank you so very much for all you do. Again, if you've been blessed by the Hope TV broadcast, I want you to make sure that you like the page, that you subscribe to our pages, and also send the links right now to others who you know can be blessed by it. We're excited about not just this program, but a whole day of programming that we have in store for you today. I hope that you're blessed by the program. We're trying to minister holistically, and I really believe that we can be inspired and encouraged. So thank you to the Hope TV staff for all you are doing. It's going to be a great day as we talk about wounded warriors, as we encourage men. I'm so happy today to have with us our first guest. We have three powerful guests who are going to be sharing with us today. They're all men of God. The first is a tremendous vessel, tremendous thinker. He's a graduate of Wake Forest and Emory universities. He's pastored in two different states, state of Alabama, and he's pastoring now in Augusta, Georgia, the Tabernacle Church there. The historic Tabernacle Church there in Augusta has been there for decades, doing incredible ministry for our God. One church in multiple locations, preaching all over the country, and is a great thinker, and he's a great man of God who has a tremendous story, and he's also part of the greatest fraternity in the world. I want to thank God for my brother, Dr. Charles Goodman, who's here with us today. What's up, Goody?
Good to see you, man. Thank you again, Dr. Smith and others, man. It's good to be here and share with you today in this interesting time that we're in.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you here, and I'm so glad you don't have that Eagles jersey on. So I wore the Falcons just to let you know something. I love you, brother. Good to see you. And we're also happy to have with us today a man of God who is who hails from Hazelhurst, Georgia. He grew up in Hazelhurst, Georgia, and graduate of Jeff Davis High School there in Hazelhurst, Georgia. Went off to Troy State to play football there, and football scholarship. Had aspirations for the NFL before setbacks kind of halted the journey, but it was really divine intervention because God wanted him in another field. Did student ministry there, called to preach the gospel there, multi-degree from Troy State University, came on to the Interdenominational Theological Center, where he received his Master Divinity degree from ITC. He served in churches all over Georgia and serves now as the pastor of the Impact Church there in Hazelhurst, Georgia. And in less than 4 years, they bought and paid for a brand new campus, completely renovated and doing incredible things. He is a civic leader and a think tank leader, and I'm so excited to have him with us today, Pastor James Earl Craig. Pastor Craig, what's up, brother?
What's going on, Dr. Smith? Appreciate it, man. Unfortunately, you guys are part of Omega Psi Phi, and I'm a part of the greatest fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. So anyway, it's good to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, encourage yourself in the Lord, and encourage yourself in the Lord. That sometimes you got to do that. God bless you. And last but not least, we have with us a man of God who comes to us from the great place of Atlantic City. There used to be a great place, and still has got a great people there. Somebody went there and bought some casinos there and messed the whole place up, and who's now leading our country. But that's another story for another day. but he worked in law enforcement there. A great story, a great leader, great heart, incredible family and a father. Got involved in ministry there, and I met him probably 20 years ago. Relocated from the Jersey area and moved into Tampa, Florida, where he did ministry in some incredible places. Pastored there, and several years ago moved to Atlanta and united with us at the House of Hope. Serves as now as our congregational care pastor, and he's also finishing his Master of Divinity at the Morehouse School of Religion at the Interdenominational Theological Center, and does an incredible job in ministering to great brother beloved, Pastor Jeff Fauntleroy. He's here with us. What's up, Pastor Jeff?
Dr. Smith, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and just praying for your ministry and all the brothers, their ministry, and praying for the men who tune in today.
Yeah, it's great. I hope all the men are blessed. Thank you for being here with us. These are incredible guys and doing some incredible things. And one of the things we've been talking about recently, and Pastor Goodman, we've been talking about it, is how, as men of God, all of you are pastors and leaders, and sometimes people look at pastors like we're subhuman, and that we're superhuman, and that the things that affect other people don't affect us. And you've been talking a whole lot about how this whole piece of this pandemic, while we're there to minister to people, that we too as pastors are affected by it. It affects us emotionally. Our entire worlds have been rocked. What are you feeling, and what do you have to say about this whole piece of the emotional health of pastors during this time of tremendous pandemic and struggle?
Yeah, great question. I think we've all been wrestling with this. I made the analogy to someone the other day. I feel like, we're going to really haven't even been able to feel all the emotions that have happened because things happen so fast. We've had to pivot, we've had to shift, we've had to learn how to lead and pastor in the pandemic. And I tell people, and a lot of pastors reach out to me every single day. I was like, one of the things that we have to be mindful of is making sure that we keep our emotional health okay. And one of the things I think that I'm learning in this moment is it's okay to lament. Like, I know we need hope and I know we need encouragement, but I do think that part of the challenge is we're trying to push people, even leaders, to already move to the other side without really embracing the moment like it is now. I preached a sermon this past Sunday with Elijah under the tree, and I love that text because here he is in a very depressed moment. He goes from 1 Kings 18 to 1 Kings 19, and I appreciate what God did in that moment for Elijah. He just let him be under the tree. And at some point, and he just fed him, gave him water, let him sleep, but he was still under the tree. And I think that for many of us, even as leaders, we have to be careful not trying to move on too fast. We have to lament in this moment. And it's okay to not have a good day. It's okay to be like, I don't understand this. I don't like this. I feel like Habakkuk, who's got all these questions. I'm like, all right, God, what you doing? And it's okay with that, to be able to sit in this, because in order for us to really be able to move on, you can't move on too fast. So my encouragement has been, hey guys, you're going to have to sit with this for a while, because we're not even in the midway point of this, right? And it's affected life, not just church. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about everything will not be the same anymore. And we need to give ourselves space to just be. So that's one of the things I'm really pushing. We're doing a man cave on Monday at our church. I love the idea you have. And so I just want to talk to the men, because for us, emotional by nature, going to be rough. And I know our life has changed is really going to cause us to really have to sit and try to manage emotions we never really had to deal with before.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. In 2016, January 2016, I had 4 major deaths that happened in the span of a month. My godmother, my mother, my best friend from college, and my sister. And then my brother had a stroke on the back end of that, a massive stroke. And I was been very, very kind of vocal about that. And I talked to a couple of my colleagues who wondered, how, at what point do you stop having those conversations? At what point do you move on from that? Is it necessary? Is it healthy? At what point are you being transparent? At what point are you bleeding on people as a man of God to have these kinds of feelings? are you pushing fear and fatigue and not faith on people? And so for you to say that to have a real moment, to have that kind of trauma, but then we have been taught just to preach your way through it and push through it. Preaching is cathartic. So to hear you say that it's healthy for us to take those moments and just lament, and it's okay that we don't have to be
It's okay.
superhuman. I think that's incredibly powerful, because as men, we're taught to be strong and not to show weakness and just go through it. And I think that's so incredible. I thank you for
I think our
sharing that.
people need to see us do it because it helps them give permission to them to do it. Right? Yes, I'm strong. Yes,
Absolutely.
I have faith. Yes, I know God is in control. But I don't like this either. And I'm struggling with this too. And I think when they see us struggling, honest and transparent, then it gives them space. Say, you know what, Pastor, I ain't having a good day either. Well, that's okay. It's okay not to have a good day. It's okay not to understand and have to grapple with something that's so large that the only way you feel like responding is, I want to go lay down. I just want to just let this day go by. So I think that's very important.
Pastor Jeff, I want to segue to you right here, because I think it's a real good segue. We talk about this whole thing of feelings of loss and the need to lament. You recently had to bury your mother, and that was actually the last funeral that we had at the church. I mean, we talk about a little over a month ago, I believe. And so you come from that, being a caretaker 15 plus years, and still haven't been able to close out all the business and affairs pertaining to her death. And here you run into this. So you're tasked with taking care of the seniors at our church, and you've been feeding thousands of seniors of groceries the past couple of weeks. But while you're feeding others, you're still having to work through the process of finalizing your mother's business. Where are you? How do you feel at this moment?
Pastor, the crazy thing is, and it's ironic that you have Pastor Goodman on here with us today. I experienced a similar situation to you, not just my mother passing, but two of my most intimate circles, people in my circle, got sick to the point where uh, my brother, who is Pastor Goodman's dad, we can't even have a conversation like we normally had, and we talk every other day. This is a man who knew me from birth, and I talk, and we know each other's intimate secrets, and now it's a problem even talking, having a conversation due to his illness, and then another member who was close to us, same thing, and then right after that, my mom died, and then right after she passed, Corona, and we had to shift instantly into caring for others. And I never really had a chance to just be for a moment and just, mourn and embrace what has taken place. And man, it's been some tough moments. I'm not even gonna lie, because, we're in this mode where automatically we had to shift, and we got to take care of our seniors because they're still here. And, my thing is always meeting needs, solving problems. How do we do these things? And in meeting the needs now, one of the problems that we have to solve is, how do we meet the needs and still stay alive at the same moment? Because in order to meet the need, you've got to make sure that we don't deliver to somebody who has been affected or infected. We've got to make sure that the person delivering is in a good state of health. So now all of that thinking is going on, and at the same time, the normal process of taking care of my mother's business through the death, those agencies are closed. So I can't even close out certain things. I spent 2 days online with Social Security. Her insurance is through New Jersey Pensions. They're closed.
Jeez.
So, thank God, man, I learned about the importance of stillness, just becoming silent and listening to God, because too often I think we try to go on what we feel as though we need to do in this moment. I'm a man. I need to, man up, and, I can do this. Nah, man, not right now. This is major. especially in a leadership position, because the decisions that you make affect others. So, Pastor, it's been some days where, I just spent outside listening to birds, listening to God, and crying.
Wow. I've been trying to watch you and monitor your pace too, because you're always the jovial guy. You're always moving, and I'm gonna talk more about that in a little bit. But I've been watching, trying to monitor your pace because I know I can relate to what you're experiencing, and sometimes we just try to move through it and work through it and encumber ourselves with so much that it's not on our minds. But in those types of moments, it can be unhealthy. Pastor
Yeah.
Gray, your situation is a little different because you are not just a pastor and a mentor, but you're a father who is extremely
Right.
active in your daughter's life, and she's 6 or 7. She's 7 now. How old is she
9.
now? She's now. Oh my
9.
goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
you getting old, sir. So she's 9, and you
Right.
very active and in a life. I mean, I seen you drive. 20 hours to get to if you needed to, and now you're in a situation now where this whole pandemic has kind of affected that as well, that relationship. How are you navigating through that?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, man. And she stays now 7 hour drive away, and in a small place where there's no flight, so it's definitely more challenging to get there, with everything going on. So the beauty of it is, we rag on it sometimes when we think about these kids learning technology and learning how to use iPads and iPhones at an early age. She's been playing around with the phone since she was 2 or 3. But now at a time like this, I'm grateful for that because now she knows how to pick up the iPhone and FaceTime me. So I thank God for technology. And though, me and mom talked about it and we talked about how bad it was with these kids and these devices, but it's clutch right now, man, because really that's our greatest connection. That's the only time I get to see her face to face. And this time, that's the only time I really get to talk to her and be able to help her through some things that they still trying to do with school. So it's really important that she has those devices with her, man. But it's still challenging because as many of you are fathers, many of the brothers that's watching the fathers, you want to be there to touch your child, spend time with them. But even in that challenge, man, the joy and the celebration is that I got technology. I can still see her face to face. We can laugh, we can smile. So despite what's going on, man, I'm staying encouraged by the fact of this technology and the fact that she learned how to use it early on. But it's still tough just not being able to touch your daughter and be around her. And because I was there almost every other month, driving up 7 hours and spending a couple of days with her, going to a classroom, her staying with me at the hotel while I'm there. So that's kind of thrown me off rhythm, thrown her off rhythm. But we're able to navigate through it with technology.
Yeah, Pastor Goodman, it's a good point. We talk about this whole thing of fathers and sons. Pastor Jeff mentioned, your dad. Your dad recently had a major health crisis,
Yes.
and you've navigated through some health challenges yourself.
Mhm.
And we hear a lot about being immunocompromised, and you trying to get your dad back to health. And while this is going on, you yourself trying to maintain your own health, and you're preaching 4 or 5 times on a Sunday, and taking care of the tremendous responsibilities, and also a very massive itinerant preaching schedule. All these things were kind of coming together at once. How are you navigating through caring for yourself, protecting yourself, trying to be there for your dad who's in North Carolina, or was in North Carolina, managing the responsibilities of Tabernacle and thousands of members, and your itinerant schedule, which was also involved with this process. So how are you navigating through all that?
Well, it's been challenging. My dad, once again, also had another setback just recently, but thanks be to
Wow.
God, he's on the right track, and so he's doing well. As Reverend Jeff said, it's kind of hard to communicate, but he's still pushing. I have a 93-year-old grandmother in North Carolina who we can't see. My family decided to do a Zoom with her on last week, so that has been challenging. As a pastor, personally, this has been very challenging from the perspective I love my people, and I have not been able to see my people. And that becomes a hard thing. When you have a pastor's heart, this is difficult. It's more than just getting people to come to church and trying to raise offerings. Man, when you are a pastor, you absolutely love people. And this has caused a separation, if you will, from us seeing our people, and trying to figure out how can we stay connected. I think there's a false narrative out there because, sometimes people want to pigeonhole pastors. We're the only ones that get kind of marked into one particular category. But
Yeah.
but the reality is God knits our hearts to who he assigns to our voice. So you care for them. I got seniors that I'm really concerned about. I have 2 cases of COVID in our church now. And the reality is it's probably going to get higher. There's people that honestly, I had to make a tough decision about a month ago to kind of cancel in-person worship and go online because I really care for my people. If I didn't care and it was all about money and it was all about offerings, come on in, and then the risk would have been higher. So that has been the challenge. From a personal standpoint, it's just been hard. Like you said, I like you on the road every week. I'm going somewhere to preach. That is halted. That's done. And I think there are some people who say, well, I guess it's God telling you get some rest. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not rest. I feel like I'm working harder now because I'm trying to figure out new innovative ways to stay connected. Because every day something changes. Every day it's a new date that they're saying stay at home or when we get the hold on this. The challenge that we're really wrestling right now is there's no ending to this right now. We don't know when things will be whatever normal means. We have no idea when that is. And so it's a lot of my pastor friends. This is rough. This is hard. And even for some brothers out there, for people not used to being still, this difficult. They're saying statistics are that domestic abuse is about to go up and child abuse, because now we're putting people in a space that they're not used to doing. It sounds good to be quarantined, but it could be for a lot of places, home was not a place of peace or rest. So we're wrestling in a lot of different ways. My main issue is I wonder how we're going to come out mentally from this and how we're going to challenge ourselves to take it day by day. This is a generation shifting event. Like, this is something we've never faced. We can't even compare it to anything. Not 9/11, not the financial crisis. There's nothing we've ever experienced in life that has shut everything down. And so I'm still trying to process. I'll be honest with you. I have more questions than answers, and I'm okay with that right now.
Pastor Gray, we had a conversation earlier about you. You started a church. You got a 3-year-old church. You've gone back. You sacrificed. You work with us, on staff with us, and full-time ministry, with us. And you went back to your hometown to follow the dream that you've had for years of doing ministry in your hometown. Getting started from the ground up, no resources, just a vision. And you've been putting a lot of your resources and having to really sacrifice a whole lot for the ministry. So you're in a brand new church. It's really a baby church, not a lot of resources, trying to build it. You're putting everything you have. You got these credentials, got these abilities, got these skills. People look at you. You can be in other places doing ministry vocationally, but you got this call. And now it's all seemingly interrupted, the momentum that you had. How are you navigating, still trying to do ministry with an infant church, already working with meager resources, and now this comes about. How you processing that, brother?
It's the greatest challenge of my life, and man, I've been through 4-day college football camps. I've been there, and this is one of the greatest challenges I face as any other pastor and preacher. But what we are, man, is just really trying to stay innovative. The advantage is I'm in a market that's much smaller. So what we've been doing has already been ahead of the bar here anyway. So we're just continuing with that. So our people were already used to Facebook Live, and they were already used to seeing me on camera and watching Bible study on Facebook Live. So that's helped us a lot. As far as resources, we were blessed, as you mentioned in the introduction. God just really blessed us, connections, the right people in the right places, right conversations with the right lenders and the right banks. And as Pastor Goodman said earlier, just staying close with these local banks. And we were able to pay for our facility and our campus in the first 2 years. We paid cash for it. So that blessed us right now more than ever, because we have no overhead. We have no debt, no bills other than the lights. And since they're off, that's been a blessing for us. So it's as challenging as it's been, it's still been a blessing because God just helped us kind of pole vault to the front or to ahead of this thing, man, because we don't have that overhead and have those big responsibilities. But the challenge is for me as a pastor, as was mentioned, with a pastor's heart, I miss my people. It's a challenge some days. I haven't been around myself, if that makes any sense, this much in a long time. I'm used to always being around and connecting to people, and especially being in a small area where I'm so accessible and have to be accessible. And I really miss the people. And the challenge is when you're in a small area, we have no confirmed cases yet. I have people like, well, Pastor, why can't we have church then? The governor said it's 10 people or less unless you can guarantee 6 feet. So we can guarantee 6 feet. We got a balcony. We got a big floor. We got a big stage. So the challenge for me right now is not the overhead, because we don't have that. It's that I miss the people. And then I got to answer the question, well, Pastor, why can't we come? You know, so that's what we're facing right now. It's a challenge for my heart, like other pastors have said, and I'm sure other brothers and other pastors that's watching got the same feeling, that you just want to be around your people. And then I think, man, just me spending time with myself has been a challenge, because I really, if it makes any sense to the world like it does me, I haven't been around myself by myself this much in a long time.
You know, before I get to Pastor Jeff, I wanna piggyback and just kind of talk to both of you guys a good end, Dr. Goodman and you, Pastor Craig, because not only are you navigating through ministry, you know, death and sickness in terms of you, Pastor Goodman, and situation with your ministry and your daughter, Pastor Craig, but you guys are both single. You're single brothers in ministry and pastoring and quarantine. How are you navigating the single life, you know, at this time? Because that's some single brothers who are watching. You know, how do you feel about being by yourself all the time? You know, not having a spouse as of yet. You know, how does that work? How do you navigate through that?
Well, I think it's the same as before the quarantine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. I think for me, who's naturally introverted, this has been a moment to really kind of be recharged in a weird kind of way. I love people, but my natural proclivity is that I'm naturally introverted. So I've just been trying to, because it is what it is. I mean, you have to deal with it. And I have to be honest about the reality is I'm too valuable of a commodity to risk it. So once again, I have to choose my health over perhaps desire and need. So, it's just a peculiar place to be. And if people don't understand that, then hey, that's just the reality. I have to stay healthy and try my best to be well, to do what I do. So I kind of approached it as I did before. I mean, everyone didn't have access before. So I didn't shift up in quarantine. It was just like, this is what it is. I'm more at home. The only difference for me is I'm at home more. And that just is what it is. So my health is paramount. And so I'm taking that approach. And so that's where I'm at.
Pastor Craig,
I'm the total
you the
opposite.
guy
So
who's you're always on the
go ahead.
go, Craig. You in Atlanta all the time. You're moving back and forth. So what's going on with that, brother?
Yeah, so I'm totally the opposite. I'm definitely extrovert, man, and I'm always around, always going. And it's a challenge. It's a real challenge for me, as with the other things I mentioned. But having to stay put. I love going back and forth. I love being on the go. I don't preach as often as you guys do, but I'm always going and visiting and just connecting with friends. And it's been a challenge. It's been tough. And just thinking about the whole single aspect, for all the brothers out there that are single, I have a 9-year-old daughter, so that lets you know I know what it's like. If y'all can follow my drift. And with that, man, it's a struggle, and it's requiring more discipline. And when I'm going all the time, my thoughts aren't there. I can be going, I can be around a bunch of people, so I don't have those thoughts. But now that I'm home by myself, and here's the greatest thing for me, I'm in a small town, but if I get away, nobody really knows where I live at in a small town. So whatever I did, nobody would know. So I'm facing that struggle and wrestling with that demon. But it's making me be more disciplined in that area of my life. So that's what I'm welcoming. I'm welcoming the discipline. And then just hearing what Pastor G just said, man, just understanding and learning now as a young pastor the value of what I do. And I can't mess up an opportunity that God has given me by going out and responding to my flesh, because in a moment of quarantine, I want to make a phone call or shoot a text message, and nobody will know, but I know that God knows, and then I can't lose the value of what God has placed in me, that's going to benefit the masses of people that I believe that God is going to call me to. So I'm learning discipline like never before in this time of my life. So that's really important, and that's really a growth spot for me.
I mean,
To
I tell
really echo
you,
that, I do also say, and I agree. For me, even before this happened, when I turned 40, three things became paramount in my life: my name, my time, and my energies. So
Wow.
regardless of what's going on, those are three things I hold very dearly. I haven't always treated those as I should, but now they
Mm.
take paramount. My name is important because that's all I have. My time, I got so much I want to accomplish, but all of us have the same amount of time. What you do with it is different. And my energy, and I cannot put that and invest that in things that are not going to bring a return. So that's how I filter every decision, professionally and personally. How's it affect my name? How's it going to affect my time? And how's it going to affect my energy? So that's how I'm approaching it. So that was even before quarantine. That's how I had to look at life.
That's
that's
good,
awesome,
man.
man.
And yeah, that's good, and I appreciate that, and I hope other men are getting this as well, because that's really important. Because I'm knocking on 40, I'm real close, so that's really important at this stage of my life and I'm gonna take that, man. My name, my time, and my energy. Those things are so valuable. So I appreciate that, and I hope every other brother that's watching starts to value those things. Because if you lose the name, especially in what we do, if you lose the
Yep.
name, the word is no longer effective, man. And if
Yeah.
you waste time and energy, then you kill yourself while other people keep living. So I appreciate that. And I hope other men are
I mean,
picking up on that too.
Yeah.
it's so important, man, and how you handle times of quarantine, and when you how you handle your wounds can make you or break you. You know, because as Goody said earlier, Dr. Goodman said earlier, if you don't handle these moments right, and it can make you implode. You know, and if what you observe, you start to absorb it, and you
Yes,
don't
sir.
operate from a healthy place. And I think there have been times in my life, man, when you operate, you're going, but you're not addressing those hurts, those pains. If
Wow.
you don't sit down and let those things be addressed, it can cause you to operate out of a very bad place. And it's so important, man, that, as you said earlier, this sitting, this lamenting, and being good with yourself, even if you don't like what you see. You know, it's
Yeah.
so important that you have those moments that you can get that thing fixed, because if not, it can be problematic. Pastor Jeff, let me ask you a question. You on the other hand, you've been married, a beautiful wife, children. How has this affected you in terms of the quarantine? Because you know the other guys are home alone because they choose to be. You know what I mean? They got rooms. They get tired of one room, they can go to the next room. But you, my brother, you like me. You in the house and you can't go nowhere. So how's that navigate you in terms of being married?
Well, in my almost 30 years, this is probably the most time I spent at home in all those
Right.
30 years. Um, but she works, she's a nurse and she works in her office. So I get to hear her, but I don't get to see her until late in the evening. But we prioritize ourselves, and she's a gem. I mean, man, you talk about being blessed. I don't know how this happened, but I thank God that it did. She knows me, and she knows when it's time for me to chill. And we help each other out because what she's dealing with right now as a nurse, we both have to pull each other up because she is now dealing with some of her patients who have chosen to stay at home and die because they know if
Wow.
they go to the hospital, they're not going to see their family members. Their family members can't see them. So they have literally made the decisions that, hey, listen, thank you for calling. I appreciate you, but I'm going to stay here and I'm going to ride it out. And, I'm here with my family. So, she has to deal with that. And she's been a nurse for a long time, but this is a new period for her. So
Wow.
we find ourselves helping each other out. When my mom took a turn for the worse and my brother had the stroke and our other family member going through something, we had just left a funeral that one Saturday you had preached at the church. And man, I was just down. I didn't, I couldn't even breathe. I lost my laugh, which, man, that's a lot. And she did something for me that I'm still trying to figure out how she did it. She went and brought me a gift, and I'm still trying to figure out where she's hiding this money. But she knows what to do to lift me up, and we lift each other up. We take time. Two good things that have come through in this is that my oldest son and I have reconnected, and we talk. And my dad, who we had gone astray, we talk. So it's kind of put things together. We check on each other. I've got 4 grandkids and 1 on the way. So they FaceTime me, like Reverend Craig was talking about. They FaceTime me, and they got me hooked on TikTok. So they keep my laugh going. That was the one thing when I got sick. I asked God to please let me never lose my laugh again. And because in preaching all the time, man, preaching, teaching, doing this, doing it in ministry, I literally lost my laugh. And I asked God to please restore my laugh, because that's what keeps me going. So my wife, man, we know each other's space, but she knows when I need to shut it down and come together. Also, I keep a cadre of different friends. Like, I got some saved friends, I got some hood friends that ain't saved, and we know how to keep each other up, man. So that balance is what keeps us going. And then again, I go back to this. I can never get off of this. I learned how to embrace that stillness moment where it's just me and God, and I just listen. I don't say nothing. I don't pray. I just say, Lord, talk to me. And I allow God to talk.
Brothers, you guys are awesome, man. I thank God for all that you do. You're all inspirations, and I appreciate you for taking the time to just bless so many men and who are watching, man. I pray God's blessings on you. I pray God helps us to navigate and set the example. We're all wounded warriors, and as Henri Naumann called, we're wounded healers. But as we heal others, I pray that God will help us to heal ourselves. So thank you for this time. Those who've been watching, I pray that you've been blessed by this segment of Man Cave. We're going to come back next week, but share this link. Let somebody know that you watch some powerful brothers who were sharing today. I got to log off now, but always remember this. If you be good to God, God will be good to you. You've been watching Man Cave. Peace. See you next time.